This week on Quad and B, we're taking you in the southeastern part of New Brunswick. We will make you discover 5 beautiful clubs: Dieppe, Membramcook, Sackville, Cap Pelé, and Shediac. Stay with us.
The ATV Country Wheelers has members from Shediac, Haute-Abidjan, Skiduk, Pointe-du-Chêne, Boudreau West, and Grand Barachois. Its 175 kilometers of trails are all groomed and joined trails from 4 different clubs. The Cap Pelé ATV Club has always been focused on winter riding, as the area has lots of rivers and wetlands that do not allow the same access in winter. In the last 3 years, the focus has been changing to year-round riding. As for the Tantramar ATV Club, it is known to be the port of entry of the southeastern part of New Brunswick. All 3 clubs have a total of over 727 members.
Yes, we're in this beautiful country land, as you can see, right in the heart of ATVing in the southeastern part of New Brunswick. What a pleasure to be here today with our guest, Clarence Donnelle. Clarence, good day and thanks for having us here. It's a beautiful site. We're in the Cap Pelé and Shediac clubs for the first segment of the show, and then we will talk about the 3 other clubs: Sackville, Membramcook, and Dieppe. Talk to us about those 2 clubs to begin with, Cap Pelé and Shediac.
Okay, Cap Pelé and Shediac, combination of about 650 members. Cap Pelé is one area. Shediac is comprised of Haute-Abidjan, Shediac, Skiduk, Grand Barachois, Pointe-du-Chêne, all that area.
People who know the area, even those who don't know the area, really know that this is, touristic-wise, this is a beautiful site, beautiful area to visit. And first of all, we can have them visit it on their ATVs.
That's right.
That's great. About those 2 clubs, how do they work? It's by volunteers, that's for sure.
All by volunteers.
How does it work? Because you're a regional director. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it. So for those 2 clubs, how do they work?
Well, we have a lot of volunteers. We have the executive. We have good executives. They meet often, and they try to keep things going. So,
yeah. We will talk as your experiences with the federation in the second portion of the show when we talk about the 3 other clubs. But we're here. You have it's a crossing of, I could say, 4 trails.
That's right.
So this is great. Talk to us about those trails.
Okay,
how they work.
Our shelter is situated here because of that. That trail over there goes down to the Skiduk area.
Yes. From
there we can go to the Cap Pelé area, and here we can go to Membramcook and down there to Shediac. So it covers a lot of terrain.
Territory. How many kilometers?
We have ATV Country Wheeler. We have 175 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we need to talk about, is your club just a summer club or winter club or 4 seasons?
It's a 4-season club, okay. But there's a lot more activity in the wintertime because we have a lot of bogs, and in the summertime it's a problem. It's
that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a challenge, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens in wintertime?
In the wintertime, we groom the trails, and there's a lot of people out on the trails.
Lots of events, annual events?
Yeah, we have jamborees and a lot of poker runs, and we try to combine with different clubs to have poker runs so that everybody can assist. Yeah.
This is something important because you're talking about having other clubs to participate, and you can connect with other clubs, and this is something good, that just to see more than one club or many clubs to work together to have a special event. This is good.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. You talked about Jamboree last. That was, I think, it was in winter 2016. You hosted the annual Winter Jam.
Yeah.
Okay. That was in Sackville, I think.
Sackville, yeah. But
okay.
We worked with Sackville and the Cap Pelé and all those clubs to get that done.
All those clubs.
Yeah.
You talked just a few minutes ago about the challenges to the terrain. This is something we need to talk about because as a regional director, you know how that is. The main issues for many clubs is to have good trails.
That's right.
But sometimes we say to have good trails in wintertime, you need good trails in summertime.
In the summertime, yeah.
That's a challenge for you. You talked about bugs. It's flat land. So how does it work anyhow?
Well, some of the trails that we use in the wintertime we can't use in the summer. It's impossible because they're on bugs and it's just impossible. And it's wetland, so you can't work in it anyway. So we have to bypass. We have to use different trails in the summertime than in the wintertime. And some landowners don't want us to be there in the summertime. They just want us to be on their lands in the wintertime because it doesn't damage as much.
That's it. That's it. You're talking about damage. We see this 4x4 coming in behind us. Are they allowed on the trails? This is a question that is asked quite often. They're allowed on certain trails.
They're not allowed on the trails as per, but this is a road, so that we can't stop them on the roads. But on the trails, we have a lot of signs saying that they're not allowed.
They're not allowed there because I know there are certain rules. On Crown lands and on DTI, what we call Department of Transportation and Infrastructure's properties, there are certain rules that people have to get acquainted with because they're really important, and we need to know them, and people need to know them.
That's right.
We talked about events in wintertime. As a tourist, where can we send people here when they call us and say, we would like to go in the Shediac area, what can I see?
Yeah, in the wintertime?
Both, winter, summertime.
Yeah. See, in the summertime it's a big tourist area, Shediac area. There's all the beaches. Here we have all kinds of places they can stay. There's all kinds of places where they can get gas or they can eat. And from the area they can take the trails and go all over the place.
Right, that's it. There are certain issues, but I look at this, two happy guys there. And you have a little shelter. This is important for your clubs, both clubs we're talking about, Cap Pelé and Shediac, but it's the same for all the clubs. But this is, I think the shelters is a trophy for everyone because the club that has the best looking shelter is a pride itself.
Yeah, shelters are good. It's a lot of a lot of people want the shelter, right? Especially in the winter time when you can come in here and warm up and yeah. So the shelter it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
I would like to talk about the challenges that you are facing for future years because we know that the Federation is developing its Highway number 10. Where are you at with that project, what we call Highway number 10, for those two clubs?
We're working on it. Right now we're in the process of trying to get all the paperwork with all the landowners finished, and then seeing for sure where we can put some money and trying to budget some money so that we can keep on going with that work.
Yes, and as a director or administrator, how do you see that there will be projects, investments in the future years?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It's a continuing thing, so
that's it.
We're continuously trying to get some money and spending it on the trails.
How is the culture of ATV here? Of quad, what we call quad. Is it people are on the trail, I would say 2-3 times a year, or they're constantly on the trails? How is it?
Some people do a lot of mileage. Some people only go out a few times. Some people only go out in the winter time. But no, there's a lot of riding. Okay. There's a lot of riding.
We talked about the challenges, the future goals on your behalf. You see those two clubs that we just talked about. We know that we're trying to bring in the tourists here. In a few minutes, how can you just wrap it up and sell your pitch to have tourists in your area here?
Yeah, I think publicity is good. We've had people from Île-de-Madeleine and from Nova Scotia PEI. So now, especially with the new interprovincial license and all that, trail pass,
This is a woodpecker. So we're in the wilderness. People need to know that we're in the wilderness, and he's just picking on a sign. So this is live. It's not live, but it's nice to hear that. This is something. It's good to hear that because tourists that come in New Brunswick, this is a new destination, and this is something that we can live. We meet mooses, we meet bears, all the animals in the wild. We don't live with them, but we share the wilderness with them, and this is something great. Yes. So people, just to wrap it up, this is what you can live in New Brunswick. As I said, this is a brand new destination. You need to come in all the areas because you have trail conditions down here. we'll talk about 3 other clubs in a few minutes, and they have completely other conditions on their side. So what's important is people that want to come to New Brunswick, you cannot do it in 1 week, or you cannot do it in 1 month. That's the deal. You have to come here year after year, right, and to discover everything. Clarence, we're getting ready to talk about 3 other clubs when we come back from our little break. So for those 2 clubs, Cap Pelé, that we just talked about, and Shediac, things are going well.
Yes, right.
We can resume with that. They're going well.
They are, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about volunteers, good participation of volunteers, or it could be better.
It could be a lot. It could always be better, yeah. We're always asking for volunteers, and when we're cleaning trails and doing all kinds of work. But it could be better, but we can't complain.
Right.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll talk about your experiences. Why you have decided to be a regional administrator, because this is quite a challenge and this is time consuming also. And at the same time, we'll take a break and we'll talk about Sackville clubs, Membramcook and Dieppe. So one more time, stay with us. We'll be back with really interesting things to share with you.
Did you know? In 2013, the estimated number of ATV dealers in New Brunswick was 31. In 2014, sales of new all-terrain vehicles in Canada were approximately 712 million at retail based on industry estimates. In 2014, 2,319 units were sold, preceded by Nova Scotia with 2,327 and followed by Nunavut with 488. In 2008, 2,764 new ATVs were sold in New Brunswick. The New Brunswick percentage of the national ATV sales was 3.41 and of 4.51 in 2014. A bit more to the north of the point of entry for New Brunswick is the Membramcook ATV Club. One of the most popular attractions for this 500-member club is Le Point de Beaumont, where the Beaumont Lighthouse used to sit with its unique scenery and ambiance. Dorchester Cape can be seen on one side and Hopewell Cape on the other. They all overlook the Bay of Fundy, and if you head further north, riders will access the Dieppe ATV Club trails with many new charms to discover.
Still in this beautiful area, southeastern part of New Brunswick. This time we will talk about Sackville Club, Membramcook and Dieppe. Still with my guests for this portion of the show, Clarence Donnelle. Clarence, we spoke in the first part of the show about 2 other clubs. Now let's talk about the 3 clubs that I have just mentioned. Talk to us about them, how they work and what goes on with them.
Sackville, Dieppe and Membramcook. Sackville and Dieppe are 2 smaller clubs. Membramcook is a very large club. It's got a long area. It's got 3 shelters. Sackville has 1 shelter. Dieppe has 1 shelter, and they're all joined. They're even joined with us, so we work closely with them. And yeah.
One thing I like to hear from you guys is when you say that those clubs all work together, because we need to speak about the events that they have yearly. Most of them, as we say, we know most of them are poker runs. But in 2015, in winter 2015, there was a major event they called Jamboree or Winter Jam Fest, where it was really, really a success.
That's right. Yeah.
And it involved all the clubs.
That's right. All the hotels were filled in Sackville, and there was over 200 bikes, and they plan it so that they go into different area clubs on the runs, so that everybody participates and everybody gets a part of the action. So.
This area we're talking about for this show, you have almost over 1,400 members. So how is it to deal with 1,400 members with a so kind of a region?
Well, it's everybody has their own executive, so everybody has their own meetings, and from there we meet and we discuss the problems in the plan. So
Great. People that want to visit this area, we want to bring them here. What can they see and what can they visit? Because we're taking them in the heart of New Brunswick and having them discover hidden treasures, but you must have many.
yeah, yeah. In that area, there's the Beaumont area. That's very popular. It's a beautiful. It's part of the Periquediac River system. And,
Can be accessed by ATVs?
yeah, oh yeah, we can go right on the point of the of Beaumont, and that's very very popular. And it's good. The trails are good in the summertime and in the wintertime. Some areas the trails are better in the wintertime, but that area, Membramcook, has better ground, and so you can access year round. Yeah.
Great.
You can.
Besides that?
And then you can, from there, you can get on Highway 2 and just keep on going up to Funday if you want.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is interesting because you already have that interconnection with many clubs.
That's right.
So this means that if we send tourists here, they have something to visit or to see for 2-3 days
Oh,
at least.
definitely, yeah. Yeah. We had tourists last winter and they did about 500 kilometers.
Wow.
Yeah. They were here for, I think there was only one day that the weather wasn't good enough for them to ride. So.
Okay. How is the access to services?
In Sackville, it's right there. Everything is very easy. Membramcook, there's access to all the liquor store and gas and restaurants. Excuse me. And Dieppe, same thing. Dieppe, you're close to the city, and yeah.
And besides that, the conditions of trails, this is similar to what we see, what we have with us here?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Clarence, one thing for sure is that we're always looking forward to developing this industry, improving the industry, because we know the tourists from outside the province and even those that are outside your area are looking forward to discover New Brunswick from the inside. We are working on developing Highway number 10, what we call Highway number 10. How is it going for those clubs?
It's going good.
Yes.
It's a lot of work, but as they get the money, they keep on going. There's a big thing is to get all the landowners' permissions, and it's going pretty good.
And it's the same for everyone, every club. The private landowners are the key
Exactly.
to develop
That's right.
to that
Without
industry.
them, you don't have a trail system.
Yes, and I talk about the shelters also because I see some sponsors signs that are everywhere with the shelter, and we didn't talk about the shelters for those 3 clubs. I guess they have many on their side also.
That's right. Yeah, the Membramcook has 3, and Sackville and Dieppe have 1, and there's a lot of sponsors which we need also corporate sponsors.
They're the key to our development. That's for sure. Future projects. Yes, we talked about Highway number 10, but for those 3 clubs, what's coming up with them? Many certain sections, sectors, regions that need more attention than others.
It's pretty well the same.
Yes?
It's pretty well the same. It's just keep on developing, and it's just kind of the same terrain, and so they have the same problems, and it's pretty well the same.
Great. Let's talk about your experiences because you're a region administrator. Okay. How do you live that? Because you have to be involved. You're passionate about this sports, and without people like you and the volunteers, there's nothing happening. So how do you live that experience on your side?
It's interesting. You meet a lot of people, and it's a liaison system with the clubs and the federation, and try to get the information from the federation to the clubs, and from the clubs to the federation. So
okay, how does it work? You have communications, you have meetings once in a while that you can bring the problems or the requests from your region to the federation.
We have the club meetings, and then we have meetings every 3 months. We have a Region 5 meeting, so that all the clubs meet and they can bring their problems, and then we can take them to the federation.
And what we need to say, Region 5 is the largest region in the province, because it's composed of 15 clubs, 14, 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So this means that you've got quite some projects on the go.
That's right.
And you have 3 administrators
Three
in that same region.
Yeah.
When you look at all the other clubs, because we will be talking about the other clubs also in Region 5 in the first 3 shows, we talked about some clubs last week, and we will be talking about other clubs next week in the same region. So as an administrator, how do you oversee that?
Well, we have to share between the 3 administrators and try to talk to the clubs and find out what's going on, and that's why we have the regional meetings, so that everything is brought up to there. You kind of have to have a focus point. So
that's it. Before I let you go, I know I still have a few minutes. Before I let you go, you talked about events like annual events and events that are recurrent, that coming year after year. You have a good participation because, as you said, it's a way of funding your clubs. There must be good participation.
very good participation. Yeah.
What's a poker run? I know people sitting at home will say, "What's a poker run? How does it work?" So I'm giving you a few minutes to talk about it.
Poker run is you just organize. You go to different companies and try to get gifts, and then you divide like 5 points, 5 points, and then you take you can buy your poker hands and you get your poker hands in each point. So you drive from one to the other. You make a certain run. You have to organize with different camps or different individuals, and then from there, whoever wins the best hands wins the prizes.
It's an event and it's a must.
Yeah, and it's a very popular event. People love it.
Yeah. People who don't have an ATV, borrow one from some friends. You have to live that. I'm telling you, you have to live that because it's really popular in wintertime. Everywhere, every club that grooms has its poker run, and it's organized different ways because the cultures are different. They organize it different ways, and this is something that has to be lived. You cannot know what's happening with the quad industry unless or until you live it. And I know there are new adepts of ATVs and quads, so we're inviting you to come in this area to visit our people, our friends. Clarence, 10 seconds to invite people to come and visit you.
Anytime, come on over. We'll meet you with open arms.
If you want to have some fun, drive here and you will see what's happening. So that's all, Clarence. Thanks for being with us, and we'll have some fun. We'll be back, I can promise you, and we will send some people in your area, your region, to live this. Next week we will take you to a little bit up north in the same area in the southeastern part of New Brunswick. We will visit the Kent area with other clubs, and we will have our president with us, Roger Deg, to talk about it. So we'll be back next week.
Welcome to Riding Tips with Jim. This week we're going to talk about what to bring with you on the trail. Now you're finished with the pre-ride inspection, and you took care of all those things that look like they may cause you trouble on the trail. But what if you have a problem out in the woods? Carrying the right tools and equipment with you when you go riding is also important to safe enjoyment of your ATV. Examine the toolkit that came with your machine. Make sure you know what's in there. You may want to add a few things. You may want to add a tire repair kit, some additional hand tools, a first aid kit, tow rope, flashlight, some wire, tape, and zap straps to make trailside repairs, some matches and a lighter, spare clothes, emergency water and food. Remember the Boy Scout motto, always be prepared. This has been Riding Tips with Jim. Keep the rubber side down.